Coming up on this week's show, the Callisto Protocol is overwhelmingly negative on Steam, but pretty great on PS5. Starship Troopers gets a 12-player PvE bug hunt extravaganza with a new game. Warhammer Darktide hits PC Gamepass. Street racing is back with Need For Speed Unbound, and a new trailer for the Super Mario Bros. Movie looks wonderful. Hello friends and welcome to the Weekend Catch-Up Club podcast, the coffee morning show brought to you every week where friends hang out and chat about some of the latest stories going on in the industry. You can follow the show on all your favourite podcast platforms or watch the video version over on youtube.com/gamertagged. This is episode 88, fueled by a flux capacitor. We're getting up to 88 miles per hour. And joining me as always is the man with the personality of a can of orange tango. It is the king of the tangent. It's James McClellan.
Morning.
Good morning, Bo. Good morning. And joining us in the co-host hot seat is none other than the voice from beyond. You've heard her in titles like Rollerdrome and Goat Simulator 3. It is the ethereal, the spooky, the immensely talented Sara Lynham.
Hello, hello, hello. It's me.
We're back for another week. Episode 88. That's crazy.
That is crazy.
That's really crazy. We're getting up to the centenary edition of the podcast.
We'll have to do something special for that.
We will. I don't know what, though. I'll need to check the dates as to when that recording would land. And if it coincides with Easter or something, you know, something bizarre like that.
That's something we can get dressed up for.
Giant eggs.
It could be like a themed Easter egg party or something like that. Free mini eggs for subscribers. That kind of thing. Get sponsored by Cadbury's. You know?
Please.
I
Hello,
love
Cadbury.
a mini egg.
I know.
We're reaching out early for Cadbury.
We are giving their marketing team plenty of time to get us in as their influencer campaign.
Yeah.
For that. You know, stranger things have happened.
Well, they're currently sat there trying to work out how to charge more for less roses in a tin every Christmas. And we're sat here looking for mini eggs.
Tell you what was so depressing about candy and sweets, Jamie. More for you. When we were kids, right? A Curly Wurly and a packet of Rolos were ginormous.
Oh yeah,
right? They were like a Curly Wurly was like a foot long. It was massive, and I got a packet of Rolos as a gift because my mum likes to do a handmade advent calendar. So she wraps little sweets and stuff like that and shoves it in a hand-stitched kind of tapestry advent calendar kind of thing, little pockets for the 25 or 24 days. So I opened up, and like a spoiled brat, I was so disappointed at the size of the packet of Rolos because they were like this size. They were tiny. I thought, what is this? Where's my full size packet of Rolos?
It's
bloody confectionery companies.
It's insane. Like the ones that get me are the the share size bags.
Yes.
That's the ones that gets me. It's like a share size bag of minstrels. I'm like, okay, who am I sharing this with? The borrowers? Because there's no way that these aren't just going straight down my throat. I remember buying a share size bag when I was younger and being like, I might need help carrying this. And now, and I admit my memories might be slightly skewed by my age, but I remember being sat there like, this is like a kilo of chocolate for £1. And then these days you get fuck all. It's very sad.
Is it not just that you're taller, you're like a bigger human being than the child version, so everything seems smaller by perspective?
Don't you try to come to the defense of these confectionery companies? How dare you?
Yeah, none of your logic and your perspective and your sense. It's like it was.
I could be definitely entirely wrong. I know for a fact that they're skimping on things. You only have to buy like a packet of crisps these days, and you're lucky if you get 50% air, 50% crisps.
Well, the air represents the profit margin. That's genuinely like how I've thought about it for years. So the more air, the more money they're making, the less I like the company.
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing. I'm doing okay with Monster Munch because those are still relatively full. But the last time I opened a packet of Frisps, I was ready to protest. It's just like, nah, this ain't cool.
I used to love a packet of discos, and they get so few in the pack now that it's hardly any. It's just the disc. There's no coal anymore. It's just like half the bag. What's going on?
It's unacceptable.
I've no idea what discos are. And
we need to introduce you.
Yes, please do. And the other thing is, I've just off the back of that, I've realized recently there's a series of like Kiwi phrases that I just use that people have been calling me out on, because I think, I don't know, up until now they've just been like, oh, that's very cute, whatever she's saying, it doesn't make sense. And now people are like we've had enough, what does this mean, why are you saying this? Like, we were playing something recently and I was like, oh, stop goose guarding, and they were like, what the hell does that mean? It turns out goose guarding and camping are the same thing, but in New Zealand we call it goose guarding, we don't call it camping. So
that's amazing.
That's a really good term, goose guarding. I'm going to use that now.
Oh, yeah.
Jamie, stop your fucking goose guarding. Stop it.
I would never. I do. I actually get called out for it constantly on Battlefield lately, because I found out that I don't even need a sniper rifle. I just need a DMR. So there's I've become my own worst enemy. There's objectives happening. I'm sat there going, yeah, but I've just killed 15 of them. I don't want to move. They'll come for me. I'm happy here.
See, Sarah, now I have questions around the localization of Untitled Goose Game. Is there terminology unique to New Zealand in that game?
And if not, why not?
Why not? Exactly. Come on, localization teams, get on it.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm here to help. I can translate to New Zealand for people.
I more have questions as to how goose guarding became the terminology for it.
I also have questions about that,
right?
Because I just grew up with that, and I'm guessing it's something to do with, you know, how you can get guard geese, right? Like, that's a thing.
Yeah.
Like a rank?
So
like a military rank for the geese? Brigadier General Goose.
General Goose. Oh, I want that to be my gamer tag now. General Goose. Oh, dear. But yeah, I think it's just from the fact that a guard goose is a thing, much like a guard dog. But saying, "Oh, stop guard dogging," that doesn't sound as fun as goose guarding. So
that's very true.
Maybe it's just the way my mind works, but there's something. I feel like I need a shower after the possibility of being like, hey, like, oh, he's guard dogging, is he? Dirty bastard.
Something else entirely. That's really something else entirely.
Is that when you get a guy who waits outside the old clapped out Vauxhall Astra with the little light on above it, just to make sure?
Not go down this avenue. It might turn into a not safe for work podcast. We don't want that. We want people to be able to listen to this with their children, potentially. So yeah, definitely not. Goose guarding is where we draw the line. Okay.
Yeah. We're like.
So topics for this week's show. Shut up, Jamie. Topics for this week's show, okay? We are going to be talking a little bit about what we're playing and what we've been playing and what we're looking forward to for the rest of the year. So that'll be a nice little segment. Whether we do this one or not, I'm not too sure. I threw it in there as games we keep coming back to, more of a comfort gaming little section. If we have time, we may throw that into the mix, but obviously there's a lot to talk about already. We have Starship Troopers news, gets a new 12-player PvE game. That just gets me so juiced up. I can't wait for that. Warhammer Darktide finally launches, but it's on PC only. God damn it. Street racing is back with Need For Speed Unbound, and we got a new Super Mario Brothers the movie trailer, and we're going to talk about that as well. But also, I want to talk about this as well, because the Callisto Protocol is also out, and that launched just yesterday. So we'll talk a little bit about maybe initial impressions about that as well. But anyway, let's kick off with what we've been playing and what we're looking forward to for the rest of the year. Sarah, would you like to go first?
Yeah, sure. I am still playing God of War. I have been eking it out because as you know, in the lead up to it, I was losing my mind, and then I was like, "Oh no, have I put too much behind this?" And turns out, no, I hadn't. It's a masterpiece. It's spectacular. Everything that I've played so far. I've just got to the point where. So the way I normally play is I will play and I'll be quite like completionist. And I'll be like, no, I want to do everything in this area before I move on.
Sure.
But there becomes a point when the story gets so good where you just can't refuse the story anymore, and that's where I'm at now.
Same.
So yeah, that's where I'm at, and that's probably going to be the rest of my day, I think, probably completing the story, and then I'll be going back and completing everything else. But what's really great about the game is that it has so much to it, and you don't necessarily have to go everywhere, see everything, do everything in order to enjoy the story, and it's really well designed in that way. So if you're just here for the story, yeah, great. If you're a completionist like me and you want your tasty little platinum, which I'm totally going for, there's plenty of content. The areas are deceptively large and intricate and kind of labyrinthian as well. Like you get a little bit confused about where you're going, which kind of makes it seem longer than it is as well, until you start to move around them a few times and you're like, oh, okay, that goes there, that goes there, that goes there, and there's loads of interconnectivity, which is really cleverly put together, really good like level design in various areas. So I'm playing that. I'm playing Goat Sim 3, obviously, which is super fun, tracking myself down and then beating the ever-living shit out of myself, because it's really fun to do that, and just bleating at myself until I say words. I found myself in one of the areas at one point, and there's like it's a zoo, and there's a like kind of exhibit. I don't know if exhibit's the right word, but you go into a room and there are 5 women dressed as dolphins that are dancing. And I'm the lead dancer in there, and I was like, "Yes, this is amazing." Like, came in and watched myself dancing in this
strangely apt as well.
Yeah, it's perfect, isn't it? Couldn't be more spot on. Me, dolphin, dancing in a zoo. Yeah. How well do they know me? Too well. So that's fun. And then we want to play more multiplayer of that, because Connor and I tried a little bit of it, and it is. You think it's chaos with one goat. It is absolutely insane with multiple goats. So we're going to get some people over to, couch play, 4-player Goat Sim, and have 4 mad goats running around doing stuff, which would be super fun.
It does sound like such a riot.
It's really good. I would definitely recommend it. And obviously I'm biased, but actually it's very fun. And if you played the first one, it is a huge step up. Like, it looks beautiful. It is so funny all throughout. There are so many great moments, and I found out at the launch party there were 14 voice actors altogether. So, and I think it's an even split between male and female voices. So it's quite cool actually to walk around, and I've now met a couple of them and go, oh, hey, that's the person I met at the party. Hey, I know that person too. That's just really fun. And there's loads of little missions and quests and stuff that you can do as well. So it keeps you interested as well, instead of just, you can run around GTA style and just mess with things, but you can also do the various quests and unlock things, and you have a sort of Assassin's Creed style base that builds up and everything. Yeah, it's great. It's awesome.
Can you leap of faith off a building Assassin's Creed style as a goat?
Well, essentially, there's no such thing as fall damage, right? You can't die as the goat, so you can leap off whatever you want. I have a glider now, which is really great. So I'm trying to get to the highest point and see how long I can glide for. And I'm pretty sure there's a trophy for it. I mean, there must be. Like, why wouldn't there be? But it's hard to find the highest point. But there is a massive statue of a guy with a big fishing rod, and he's a huge, giant golden statue. And I walked all the way to the end of it because there was a trophy that said, go fishing. So I walked all the way to the end of it, and it's really, precariously thin, just wide enough for the goat to walk along. And then I went, wait a minute, to go fishing, you need to use the reel, not the end of the fishing line. So I'd walked all the way across to the end and gone, oh, now I have to go all the way back. Oh, no.
Oh, dear. Oh, dear.
Joys of achievement hunting.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And what else am I playing? Playing Darktide, which is sick. It's really cool. Really, really fun. I haven't played enough of it to have done all the levels, but it's a great multiplayer online game. Really, really loving playing that with friends. Sorry that it's only on PC, but it is really good.
We'll get into that a little bit later. I'm hugely impressed that you're managing to be so restrained with God of War and eke it out, because I was of the thinking when I played it, I'm really going to savor this gun. I'm going to take my time. I'm going to do everything. I'm going to explore everything. But then the story kicks off, and then I was like an addict. I just had to snort it all up, inject it into my veins as fast as possible, and I ended up blitzing the story so fast and finishing the game. And I've got so much to do outside of the main story that I need to go back and do it. So I applaud your restraint, because it just overcame me. I was like, nah, fuck this. I don't care about your side character woes. I've got Ragnarok to face down. That's the only thing that matters.
I don't care about these ghosts and their family and something about a treasure. I don't care.
Exactly. Oh, woe is me. Go fuck off. I've got Ragnarok to stop.
You'll still be here after Ragnarok. You're already dead. I don't care.
Exactly. You can get all cozy in Helheim. I've got shit to do here in Asgard. Jamie, what have you been playing, my friend?
Dipping between. I've gone back to Faz recently. I've been playing that with a friend and had a couple of games. And it
Swear
got
to God,
me...
if you say Minecraft again, I'm going to slap you.
I was going to say Minecraft. So, like, most of my my usual hyperfixations when it comes to gaming are definitely well in place. But I have been playing something new, or at least new to me, something that I've been waiting a long time for. I have finally played the campaign of Halo Infinite.
Hey! Woo!
Fucking after a year of waiting. I've been playing that with Alan, my friends Ed and Tom. So with the four of us have been playing through the campaign, and we're not finished yet because there's so much. It's this huge open world, and it is very pretty. And you've got, mobility you never had with the grappling hook and all of this. So we've already mastered the art of hopping. You can climb anything with the grappling hook because you fire it, fall a bit, fire it, fall a bit. It's bloody ridiculous. And now we can spawn in Wasps aircraft from the FOBs. So we're just flying around levels. Fucking phenomenal. So I'm having a whale of a time with that. I will say, 343, you did a damn good job with the campaign. You did a piss poor job with the release, but you did a damn good job with the campaign. So I'm starting to forget, because I'm so fickle when it comes to Halo.
I told you the campaign was good.
It is. It's stellar. The story's really good. It's unraveling beautifully so far. It's just the levels are all fun to play. Even little things like I'm really enjoying the. We're going hunting for all the skulls and all the data pads and all of that because we fully intend to max it because Halo. So, and the amount of time we've spent, pissing about in ceiling rafters trying to find skulls and things like that is, I love it.
Yeah, so I love the inclusion of the grapple hook and how good it feels with that new mechanic, that new mix-up in the tried and trusted Halo of shooting, punching, and grenades was the holy trifecta of the Halo gameplay loop. And then they threw in a grapple hook to mix things up, and it just feels so good. The fact that you can grab an energy canister and pull it toward you and then lob it into the enemies and detonate the whole area is like that new inclusion just feels so perfect and so good. And it's great that finally the co-op mode is here, right? It had this launched day and date with the game when it came out. This would have been the conversation. This would have been the story. And this would have been the success story of the whole messaging for 343. But it is unfortunate, but finally here, and Jamie's got his Halo fix, and I think that's what's brought out the Christmas jumper for him today. He's actually feeling merry and happy.
I know I'd forgotten what it was like to feel happy. 343 very much robbed me of my smile, but I'm finding it again in Adventure with Friends, and obviously the real Halo campaign was the friends we made along the way, but. Etc. It is the one thing my one bugbear with the game really. It has a couple of little bugs. Like it's had a couple of connectivity issues, shit like that. That's part and parcel of online multiplayer co-op, and it's only very occasional, so it's not like it's broken. The one slight bugbear is Legendary doesn't feel like Legendary. It has been a breeze so far.
Interesting. Is that because it's 4 of you and it's more of an open world kind of sandbox now? You've got more space to move around and...
I don't know. The mobility helps because you don't get you can escape fights. You don't get bogged down as much, and all of the equipment helps. But then that should still be balanced. Like the fights against like the sort of boss fights are quite sturdy. There's some they can take some doing, but even then they don't feel. I mean, there's nothing that we haven't. We've died a couple of times, but there's nothing that's felt like a real choke point, anything like that. It just everything's ticking along. So I don't know. It just doesn't feel very difficult. It's not impacting on the fun. It's just a shame because I like a really robust legendary from Halo. Like most games, I'll say play them on whatever difficulty you like and just breeze and just enjoy them. And I do. Like I'll happily jump into a game on easy just because I was like, let's see what this story's like. Let's have a bit of fun. Halo, Gears, Call of Duty, those sort of things, I always play on the hardest difficulty setting because I enjoy the challenge. And to some degree, with some of the latter entries in all those series, you need to play on the hardest difficulty to get the challenge, because as you get used to the mechanics more as you go through the franchise and as the games progress, they're always tweaking it. So some of the games are easier than others. But this one, it just doesn't feel particularly challenging, really, but it's so much fun to play that it doesn't really bother me too much. But
you're having a great time with it. The Spartans all romping around the Halo ring, or it is a Halo ring, isn't it? I can't actually remember. I think it's a Halo ring.
You're on a ring, but it's got that sort of disjointed, that hexagonal still being built Forerunner-esque. The aesthetic's gorgeous. So I'm thoroughly enjoying it. It's been a hell of a lot of fun, and it's got the usual insane Halo moments, and amazing. You get your ass saved by one of the guys, and all of these. Someone comes swooping in with a grav hammer, and then the next minute, I take us off a cliff in a warthog. So I'm not paying attention. So it's just classic Halo. It's great. I really, very much enjoyed it. So
amazing. Well, Sarah, would you believe that the Grinch has found his Christmas spirit again, and he's all warm and fuzzy? Look at that, eh?
I'm so happy. It's good.
I know. So I've been playing a couple of things. I went back and dipped into my comfort gaming again. So we'll get to that later. But I've been playing Evil West, which is a new game from Flying Wild Hog Studios. They are the developers behind the Shadow Warrior series. If you're familiar with the Shadow Warrior series, it's hilarious. It's so self-referential. It's ridiculous. It's bad, crass jokes. And it's that kind of Duke Nukem era of first-person shooters, And the lead character is called Wang, so there's lots of Wang jokes, that kind of thing. Chinese mythology and that kind of stuff for the Shadow Warrior. So they have released this new game, which is very much like John Carpenter vampires. It's really like B-movie, schlocky, campy, ridiculous. Does not take itself seriously. So you're a cowboy and you're a vampire hunter. Think Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter kind of vibe to it all, right? So you're a legacy hunter. Your family is like the brotherhood, the set up the brotherhood for hunting vampires and monsters and werewolves and stuff like that. But it's all at the backdrop of like Red Dead Redemption kind of thing. But it's very pure in its linearity, very old school, and like PS3, Xbox 360, Gears of War kind of vein. It's very, very linear. You don't really deviate too much. There's no convoluted systems. There's no like monetization stuff. It's just, it's just a pure little action game, and it's start to finish, and then you're kind of done with it. And I love that. I love that these kind of games are coming back from bygone era. They're not getting bogged down on how bloated and how complex a lot of modern games have become, and the expectation of stuff it full of stuff, cram it full of systems and different upgrades and skins and stuff that you can buy and upgrade your character and all this kind of bullshit. And this is just, you put it in, it's like Soul Reaver or Gears of War or old school God of War. It's a balls to the wall action game, and it's so much fun, and the mechanics are so slick that I liken it to, it has the over the shoulder kind of feel of God of War 2018, right? But it plays much more like a Doom 2016, where it's that kind of combat chess sort of mentality when you go into the combat basins or the arenas and you start getting all of these demons and vampires coming at you. It's like you got to assess who to go for first. Is it the heavy? Is it the light ones? And what I loved is like similar to Doom 2016, where the X button or the square if you're on PlayStation would bring up the chainsaw and it'd be like an instant heavy move. Like power moves are kind of mapped to the face buttons. So you've got that as a mechanic there. But also if you left trigger as you bring up your rifle and then you fire as normal. But if you just without aiming, if you press and hold the right trigger, you will pull up your revolver and you will fan the gun and fire rapidly. So you don't really have to aim because it's all auto aiming, and you don't have to reload because it's auto reloading. So there's this arcadiness to it that keeps the action going constantly, and you're moving around, you're doing the different commands, the different button inputs, almost kind of combo style. And you have this supercharged lightning gauntlet as well to punch the shit out of people and the creatures. But also you can tether them, Jamie, kind of like a grapple hook. So you can slingshot yourself to them to do a power punch, kind of like in Doom Eternal with the shotgun grapple, or in Halo Infinite. Or you can lasso them to yourself and then get them out of the group of baddies and isolate them. And because it's an electrically charged gauntlet, it will shock them. So you see the skeleton as they're like convulsing and as you lay this super combo smackdown on them. It is fucking brilliant. It is so much fun. And because it does not take itself seriously at all, it's just a riot. And you look like this utter badass cowboy with the 6-shooter and the rifle and the stun cattle prod and the gauntlet. And I'm unlocking more weapons and abilities now. Like you have this ultimate... Like a Spartan Rage kind of move, Sarah, where you click the both thumbsticks in and it's like you'll unleash the lightning in your gauntlet and you will just like zip around the battlefield just smacking the shit in this ginormous power move. And it's just so much fun because it's not trying to be this grandiose epic, like stuffed filled with side content and exploration and open world mechanics and all this other stuff. It is just A to B bloodfest of Smackdown and Brawler, and it's just a lot of fun. And the writing's actually quite funny good. Cheesy as shit, like unbelievably cheese with a side of brie sort of thing. It is unbelievably bad at times, but it's also so funny and cheesy. You just got to kind of go with it. Highly recommend it. And I picked it up for like 35 quid. So it's not even like mega expensive, but it's really, really good. I'm playing on performance mode on Xbox. There's a big furor about that when the game came out that it can only do 4K 30 or 1080p 60 for performance mode, and obviously the internet was like, what the hell is this? I can't believe we are forced to play games at 1080p 60. But you know what? Whilst the image, because I'm playing on a 4K screen, so 1080p blown up to 4K, it does look soft. Having said that, it is flawless technically. Not a single issue, not a single bug, and it is just smooth as anything. And it's just such a joy to play. It just puts a smile on your face because it is that. I'm a cowboy, I'm a vampire hunter, I get to hunt werewolves, I get to lay a smackdown on Dracula. I don't even know if Dracula's in it, but this is like the granddaddy uber vampires as bosses and things like that, you know? And I really, really hope that this will spawn a sequel where they can expand on some things but not lose the heart and the focus of the first game, because it's so good and it's so tight and it's just a lot of fun. If you want something big and dumb, switch your brain off and just punch the shit out of vampires and get geysers of blood everywhere, this is your game. It's so much fun.
What's it called again?
Evil West.
Evil West. Cool.
Yeah. It's a riot.
Awesome.
I thoroughly recommend it.
I love it's like it sounds like the popcorn movie, you know, of gaming. And there's nothing wrong with it. Like not everything needs to be an Oscar winner. Some stuff just needs to be fun.
Mm-hmm.
So I will that sounds I'll put that on the pile of shame.
One for this pile of shame. You've chipped away one thing from the pile of shame with Halo Infinite, Jamie. You've got another one to just take its place.
It's never happening, is it? Let's face it. I'm never getting to the bottom of this. I've got 360 games still that I'm like, I need to get to that eventually.
100%, man, 100%. So that's what I've been playing, but also I've been playing a little bit of the Callisto Protocol. Ooh. Oh my god. I'm going to talk a little bit about it, but not too excessively, because I'll save that for next week's show where I've had the full week to play it. But can I say, unless you're playing on PC, because unfortunately all the reports coming out, the PC is a bag of shit. Apparently, it's so bad, it's so badly optimized, which is hugely disappointing. If you can get the PS5 version, because so far it has been damn near perfect. Like, it is stunningly good looking. Like, this is the next generation graphics that we've been hoping it would deliver. It's absolutely gorgeous. It has a quality mode, which has the ray tracing stuff, 30 frames per second, which is totally fine, actually. And the performance mode, which I've been playing in. And whilst it doesn't have the ray tracing stuff, it looks like the resolution and textures and things like that are pretty similar. Obviously a little bit of a notch down from the quality mode, but it runs at, it feels anyway, a near flawless, like 60 frames per second. If there's dips, I haven't noticed it. I'm sure if you've got analysis tools or things like that, you can correct me on that, but I don't need analysis tools to tell me I'm having a good time. And I was having a really, really good time. And it is so violent, Sarah. It is so violent. It is brutal. It is a 2023 Dead Space. And I mean that in the best possible compliment, because that's all I want. And I've seen reports of giving it shit and knocking it down for saying, well, it's not doing anything new. It's just a Dead Space, but a prettier Dead Space. It's like, so fucking what? So what? That's exactly what we want. We want an 8 to 10 hour horror game, which is like Dead Space, and it looks phenomenal. And that's what they delivered. And I am having an absolute blast with it. I'm 2 hours in. So I've done the opening. I've done a little bit of exploration-y stuff. Got my stun baton now. I've got the handgun now, and I've got the gravity kind of gauntlet thing that you get from the trailers as well. And the whole atmosphere and the presentation is fucking top drawer. And I know it's not fair to compare it, but you could honestly say graphically better than like God of War Ragnarok. It's not fair to compare because it's not an open world game. It's not as blown out and epic and huge as that, but it's way more contained. But the lighting, the textures, how they've scanned in the actual actors' faces is frighteningly realistic and so photorealistic. And I'm having a blast with it, and I can't wait to play more. And fuck me, the haptics. Jesus! We mentioned the haptics on a couple episodes ago, and whilst at the moment I haven't quite found that sensation of the limbs snapping, there's so many little things going on in the controller. Like when you take the stun baton off your back, there's like a charge up, and it's almost like you feel a ripple going through the controller as like the current moves into the baton, and there's a sound effect. And any radio transmissions with the other NPCs that you encounter, they come through the speaker of the controller. And I fucking love that stuff. And it's like, and it caught me off guard one time because I was walking along this really tense corridor. I was sneaking, and then this fucking radio signal blasts through the controller. And did I shit myself? I absolutely did. I jumped. I was like, oh my god. God damn it, Elias! Why you're like, shh, we're supposed to be sneaking here. Don't. I should have put it on silent mode or something like that. Like, you know, it's really great so far. I'm really, really enjoying it, and I can't wait to explore more and talk about maybe more in depth on next week's show. And I've had a proper session of it, but great so far. Like, and of course, obviously, it's unfortunate that the Steam reviews and stuff like that are saying overwhelmingly negative, and that's just such a shame because it's a new studio, it's their first game, and the PC port obviously should have said, look, we're going to have to delay the PC port and focus on just the console port. And there's issues on the Xbox as well, apparently. But God, I mean, if you've got the PS5, that's clearly the version to go for. It's the most polished, it's the most stable, it's graphically even better than because of the optimization problems with the PC, like having to run it on like medium or low, still not great. So graphically, the PS5 version is better as well. So highly recommend it for that platform. Obviously, can't recommend it to anybody until those PC problems are fixed. But once it does get fixed, I would imagine this would be incredible on a high-end PC if they can get it to run as it's meant to run and look as it's meant to look, you know? But
yeah. I heard it was something to do with like some security measure that they've put into the game. So apparently, every single frame of the game, it scans and goes, "Is this legit? Is someone trying to copy this? Let's just double check." So that's why it's making it really, really clunky. So even on a really high-end PC, a really powerful rig, your computer's still having to do a shit ton of work, even just to render a frame of the game. So that's what I've heard anyway. That's a real shame, and I appreciate they're trying to stop pirating and that sort of thing. And I think it's an important measure for devs to have in a game. But I don't know. Maybe they didn't have a chance to properly check how that would affect just like a standard PC user, because most devs have some pretty insane rigs for rendering all their stuff and putting together their game in the first place. But
I think maybe it came in way too hot. I think they've had to say, "Oh fuck, the Dead Space remake is coming out in January. We need to beat that." In case anybody says, "Well, I've got Dead Space remake. I don't need a Dead Space like because I've got the original, which has been remade." I think there's maybe a part of that. I'm speculating, obviously.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I also read that Sony loaned the studio 150 developers to help ship it. Whether that's accurate or not, but I saw that headline, which makes sense why the Sony version is so fucking good, because they would have prioritized that version of the game. I don't know how much truth is in that, but if that's true, that makes sense that they we want our version to be amazing, and here's a whole ton of resource to make that happen. If that's what happened, this is unfortunate, but I kind of understand it. But I really hope they can fix the other versions very, very quickly, because word of mouth gets around so fast, and it's not going to sell, unfortunately. People are getting refunds because of performance issues. It's just unplayable, all this kind of stuff, which is really sad.
Yeah.
I just hope it gets that, second bite that it deserves, because it looks fantastic. And it's obviously having issues at the moment, and that is unfortunate. But you look at the amount of time, like, it's happened with games before where they've come out and they've been particularly buggy or whatever, and then people just walk away, and then it gets fixed, but no one's interested anymore. And I know I'm an apologist for this game, and it will happen to my dying day, but I always look at Aliens Colonial Marines, because that was scuffed, and they fixed it. And it's not an incredible game or graphically stupendous, or the story's like award-winning, but it is a hell of a lot of fun. But by the time they got it to the stage where it was a hell of a lot of fun, people were like, no, bugger that. And it's always universally hated. Whereas me and all my mates loved that game because we had a great experience with it, because they fixed it enough that it was. So fingers crossed people will stay on board. I think the PS version being so good, so that there is a version floating about in the wild that people can see the potential of it, will hopefully help. But they deserve a crack of the whip with that. I hope they get it fixed.
I hope so as well. I really do, because it feels like that Evil West style of older game, but embrace that, and it's unbelievably polished. Like, it's crazy levels of polish to it, but it is at its core a simple A to B, fairly linear, but you haven't seen presentation like this yet, kind of vibes to it, and I'm really digging it so far, and I can't wait to get in and play more and see it all the way through, and see all those incredible death animations as well. some of them are brutal. Somebody wrenched my head in half at one point, because it was the first main encounter, and it's like a quick timey tutorial, so it's telling you how combat works, and of course you've got the dodging with the thumbsticks, which we need to get into probably next week more specifically, because that mechanic is fucking brilliant. It's really good. It feels so satisfying to juke left and right, to dodge the swings and stuff, and it's so intimate. The combat feels so much more intimate than just dodge rolling attacking. It's great. Anyway, I digress. But this big enemy, this huge, disgusting, pussy, mutant enemy, got a couple of hits in, because I hadn't obviously got the timing down or the dodging mechanics down just yet. It was all new. I was like, what the fuck am I doing here? Just give me a button to dodge. But anyway, I did click with it eventually. And the energy bar on the back of my neck now, kind of like the energy bar system in Dead Space for Isaac. It was going amber and then red, and then he got me, but he grabbed me back. It's gross to describe, so I apologize for any listeners, but he had his hand on the bottom of my jaw, the other hand on the top of my jaw, and wrenched my head open and ripped my head in half across the horizontal, like just opened it up.
Oh my God.
And I just collapsed, obviously, and it's like the dead screen. But then on PS5 anyway, like the loading to get you back in is really fast. So that SSD is obviously doing a fantastic job. And it gets you straight back in as quick as it possibly can. And the fact that it's loading in a game as graphically this intense so fast within like 5 or 6 seconds, it's like, shit, this is the next generation is here. Very much so. It's wild. But I can't wait for... I know Sarah's looking forward to this game as well, so hopefully you can pick it up after your God of War marathon and epic.
It's on my Christmas wish list, but maybe I'll get it before Christmas. Anyone?
We're open to donations, folks.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. So Sarah will share her Amazon wish list in the description of the show if you want to donate, that kind of thing. Anyway.
Anything we won't shill for.
We'll shill for absolutely everything. If it makes, hey, if I can make the show like self-sustaining and budget remuneration, then I'm all for it. Yeah. That's fine.
Oh, it wasn't a negative. I was just checking with the limit line before I start.
I have not found that limit line yet.
No.
Yeah. I know. So both of you get your Starship Troopers quotes at the ready, because there is a new 12-player game coming, and it looks like the dream project if you're a fan of Paul Verhoeven's 1997 classic. So this information coming from Eurogamer, inspired by Paul Verhoeven's cult classic 1997 movie Starship Troopers Extermination, drops up to 3 squads of 4 players onto the front lines amid an arachnid assault, challenging them to work together to complete objectives, acquire resources, build and defend their base of operations, and finally escape to the extraction zones. There are 3 classes to choose from: assault, support, and defense, each with their own weapons, equipment, and perks, alongside a base building system that sees players using resources acquired from planet-side refineries to construct walls, towers, ammo stations, and various other amenities in an effort to gain the upper hand in battle. This just sounds amazing. Jamie, would you like to know more?
Oh, my heart. I love this film so much. It is an absolute classic. And the game looks insane. Like, you see the amount of bugs on screen in that trailer. Sweet fuck, that is going to be... I've already decided I am exclusively playing support, and I will only heal anyone if I hear them shout, "Medic!" It's just... I love games like this. And I've always liked like horde modes and firefight and waves of enemies and stuff, especially when you can build up defenses. So there's that anyway, like with that sort of, with the bugs of Starship Troopers, I was pretty well sold. Yeah. But I watched that trailer, and I watched it very closely because I wanted to see how the base building mechanics looked. And they look pretty solid. Like, you're basically just... It looks like you're going to be throwing up chunks of base, right? So it's going to be, select the wall, select the ammo crate, select the... But they're there, just pops a welder, it builds. Like, it's pretty simplified, which is fine, because it looks like it's going to be fucking insanity out there anyway. So, but they're throwing up this base, and then they're up on a wall shooting this wave, and like, it's just a carpet of death. I thought, yeah, that'll do me. That's what I want to see. Like, what I hope is that we'll get some. I really want to see some like really nasty kills with the bugs, like people getting like in the film with like the pulled in half and that sort of thing, because you need it. Make it gruesome, make it mental, and I'm sold. This is I'm absolutely getting this. I need it. Hook it to my fucking veins.
It's perfect for that format as well, right? Because the movie is all about unsurmountable odds, waves of arachnids coming over the horizon and rampaging like a sea, like a raging ocean up against the fortress where you're trying to hold out until the dropships arrive and get you out of there. I was like, I'm hugely excited for this as well, and it's like, why have we never had this before? Is it technical limitations? Like, why have we never? I mean, I don't remember around the time that the movie came out, a little bit after, there was a Starship Troopers game, which was pretty cool. It was a first-person shooter. But I didn't really hear much about it after that. And then finally we're getting this one, which hopefully they have the power to do literally hundreds, maybe thousands of arachnids coming at you, horde style, kind of like Darktide, I suppose, Sarah, where it's just waves upon waves upon waves, and you've got to hold out, you've got to fall back on your different classes and just try and get your base okay, and whatever the objectives might be. And I hope there's different types of missions. It's not just all wave based. It's things where you have to go hunt a brain, arachnid, things like that. You have to be super quiet and sneaky and try and capture a brain bug. Would be really, really cool. Like other things. And if Tom Clancy isn't casting this, I'm going to protest it, because the enemy cannot push a button if you disable its hand. Oh. And he needs to be in it. He is so iconic in that role.
It's absolutely one of my favourite film quotes of all time. And one that you very rarely get to apply in games as well. There's hardly ever a moment where you get to pin someone. I remember yelling that in Half-Life because there was a scientist reaching for something and I saw it and I just put a crossbow bolt through his hand into the wall. So
brilliant.
But it was a scripted sequence, so he just took it like a champ and carried on and completed the next 5 minutes of what he was doing and then died in front of me. So, wasn't perfect, but nah, I'm sold. I'm so sold. I really want this game to come out now.
It looks amazing.
I know.
Are we waiting till next year? Is that right? Did it say 2023?
Yeah, sometime in 2023. Early access is expected to last around a year. That's pretty good. And the final release promising multiple worlds, plus additional weapons, enemy types, class progression upgrades, community events, and encounters.
Nice.
What's exciting, though, as I said, all of this plays out across a massive, inverted air quotes, massive 5-zone map known as Planet Valaka, where players go up against steadily escalating swarms of what will initially be 5 distinct bug types as Steam Early Access begins with the drone, the warrior, gunner, plasma grenadier, and tiger elite. Jamie, can you imagine the giant beetle bugs from the movie, which I always thought Halo 2's Scarab was a nod to the giant beetles in Starship Troopers. Can you imagine if you all have to go up, band together, the 4 different squads, or 3 different squads, whatever it was, and all try and take down one of these ginormous beetle bugs, which is just like fire hosing lava at you, and you're trying to avoid that and take it down. That'd be so cool.
There's so much potential for sort of almost like Monster Hunter-esque huge battles, but with obviously bigger teams. And I love the idea of like it being 3 squads of 4 that are out on this world, but you have to like cooperate between squads as well. So you gather your buddies and you go out there and play, but there's also like this other squad you can get in touch with. Like, I hope you can. It'd be quite nice if you could spread out across the map as well. So you'd have like 3 separate bases, but could work together on stuff. So you like,
that could be cool.
There's so much potential.
I just want my character, my custom character, if there is custom characters, hopefully there are, to be a heavy gunner, and I wear a necklace of arachnid teeth of all my kills and trophies, things like that. I just want to, go native, kind of like go wild with it, with my character.
It's early access. It's going to be coming to early access. So let's get in on the ground floor, play the crap out of it, talk about it constantly, and basically make it impossible for them not to use the ideas we're coming up with.
That's the perfect plan.
I like that idea a lot.
We'll take them down from the inside. I mean, we'll boost them from the inside.
Support. We're supporting them. Yeah.
We're helpers.
Is it PC only?
It will be for now, yeah.
Ross,
Steam Early Access. I know.
You got to go get yourself a good rig and
it's
join
time,
us.
buddy. It's time.
It's time.
Starship
right?
Troopers needs you.
Starship Troopers, Darktide, all of this stuff is only PC only. I know. Hey, if anybody wants to, if any PC manufacturer wants to sponsor the show, then I could do it with a PC rig. I have no PC rig, so just throwing that out there.
Just think about how much easier it will be for us to talk about these games if Ross can also play with us.
We could have a regular segment which is just like early access games or PC only, little indie games, Steam sale corner sections of the show. We can do all of that stuff. God damn it. I know. It's inevitable.
Putting it
right?
out there.
It's inevitable that I'm gonna have to get a PC at some point.
Totally.
Yeah.
Oh, this game looks so good. I can't wait. I love the fact that it is 3 squads of 4, because so at the moment when we're playing Darktide, we've got about 9 of us that have the game, and so we'll all go into one Discord chat, but we're playing separate games, so we're all shouting at each other and no one knows who's talking to who. So it's a bit chaotic, but it's fun. But I just imagine if you got like 12 people all together, or you had like a regular set of 3 sets of 4 squads, that would be so cool, because that's the one thing that we're finding. Obviously it's lovely to play with the groups of 4 of us, and what we just rotate and we switch people out and we play with all different people in our group of 8. But yeah, it would be even better if we're all playing the same game at the same time. It will be absolute chaos, but it would be great. Like, you can just hear, if you're sort of split into 3 different areas, like you were saying, Jamie, you'd have like, someone's like, this such and such is coming at me, cover me, give me some cover fire, I'm going across this way. And someone's like, what, where are you? I don't know where you are right now. No, I'm not with you right now, I'm in the other squad. Oh my god, okay, fuck.
Yeah.
But yeah, it will be, it's going to be great. Yeah, let's kill those bugs. Only good bug is a dead bug, right?
Yes. Yeah. I'm doing my part. Absolutely. I love it. It's so quotable. It's just like Aliens, like not Colonial Marines, but the movie Aliens. That movie is so quotable, and so is Starship Troopers. It's not often that a movie becomes so iconically quotable that it's a pop culture thing, And Starship Troopers was one of those movies.
I did wonder whether or not the reason why they hadn't done anything before now might be sort of to let the nostalgia build. So. Like maybe they were like, oh, well, let's, if we did it sort of 10 years after release, you're probably not going to get the same effect as now, which is what, quick maths, what?
25
years, yeah. That's
true.
You're way more likely to get people that are like, oh my god, I loved that film, I love everything about it, and I think that's very clever, in the same way that I wish Ghostbusters had kind of maybe kept latched me a little bit more. I feel like I played a little bit of it and was like, okay, cool, these are all the same maps. It just kind of felt like it needed a bit more content in order to keep me going, because I haven't gone back to it for a while. I did really enjoy it, but I hope that there's enough in this that it doesn't fall to the same fate as Ghostbusters did for me anyway.
Totally. I think you're right, and I'm hoping that this ginormous 5-zone map will have lots of activities for you to do, little fire team missions, like big expeditions, big bug hunt missions, and of course, get back to base. We're getting overrun by this wave of arachnids. Help us, kind of thing. Send in support. That kind of stuff could be really, really cool, and a bit of longevity for it as well. Yeah, for sure. Okay, Sarah, tell us about Darktide.
It is so good. It is. So, I mean, nothing beats bashing the crap out of like really squishy little enemies and like loads of them. I think like hordes of enemies are super fun to fight. The level design is so creepy as well. I haven't got to this point yet, but I've heard that there are sections of the game where it's all in darkness, hence Darktide. And the only thing you can see, or the only thing you can see with, is the muzzle fire from like shooting into the darkness, basically, which sounds terrifying. And the sort of like pinprick, like 2 little red dots coming at you. You're like, that's a bad guy. Shoot it now.
It's just Sam Fisher changing up his outfit. That's all. You just shot Sam Fisher. He's got changed from green to red.
He's always out there.
But I think for me, I hadn't really played that many first-person shooters. Like not since GoldenEye. Basically, I used to play a lot when I was younger, and then I didn't for a long time. I moved into more RPG and action-based things and solo player stuff, and then getting back into FPS has been really fun, and this in particular was great in the lead up to it. So I played in the beta, which was really fun, and now you sort of have, there are a few like buggy bits still going on, and they're still working it out, but it's fine. I think the way that the game plays is great, and the different types of characters you can play at the moment are fun enough and keeping it going enough for me. And we're playing a lot of it actually, like sort of every other day. And also, nothing beats playing with your friends. It's awesome. Like I love God of War. I love like being locked into the story and not speaking to someone for hours. But I also really love being in a Discord chat with 3 other friends and playing and destroying all the baddies. It's super fun. I would definitely recommend it if anybody wants to pick it up. Absolutely. Add me on Discord. Let's play.
What's your class? Who did you choose to go as?
So I actually started off as the Zealot when I was playing in the beta. And then I switched to what's his name? Is it the I've forgotten. Is it the Specialist? Something like that. Or Veteran? No, I think it's called the Veteran. And I basically stand back and I pop things off from a distance, so with my long range. But you want to get up in the fray every now and again, and sometimes you kind of get forced to, which is I've got no objections to that. You whip out your melee weapon and then you just go to town. And you can sort of like swing in all directions and catch them when they're surrounding you. But it's great. It's great. I really wanted to play the big Ogren type character. They have this like a massive dude who's kind of sort of troll like strongman kind of fella. Who's got the voice acting for it is great. He's got a sort of classic, lower intelligence level, so they give him some simple lines. But he's adorable. Like he's really cute, and he says some silly things sometimes, and some of the other characters like give him crap for it. But I just think because I think people were complaining about the voice acting not being as good as Vermintide, because they've gone for a slightly different structure. You don't have like a character that you play. You play your own version of this type of character, which means that the lines, I guess, are slightly more generic. But in saying that, you get to determine all the things about your origin. So where you're from, like your planet of origin, and your character type, like what type of a person you are, or why you ended up in the prison, and all these sorts of things. So those actually feed into the way that you interact with other characters. So I actually think they've probably recorded way more lines, because each version of the character will have a different way of interacting with another person if they're from a different planet. So if anything, it's more impressive in that sense. And I've really enjoyed the interaction between the characters. I want to try and play the big boy at some point, because apparently even his like perspective is higher up, so he sees like above the little squishies, and you get to just like pummel them from above, which sounds so fun.
I like that, because even the same, if you're playing with your friends, even if they're the same class as you, they can still be different. You can still tailor their backstory and to craft a different massive ogre juggernaut type, or the psyker, or the like the sniper class, or the support class.
I think also there's gonna be more options for subclasses within things as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they do in terms of that, cool. And sort of getting more slightly specialized. And it does mean that you don't suddenly find, everybody wants to play, everyone wants to play the big boy. We can all be slightly different versions of that, and it means you're not just all up in the fray and doing stuff. It makes it more, it just sort of branches out in terms of what you can do within the characters, because it's a bit like, no, this is a terrible, terrible comparison. I don't know if you had this, and I would probably assume not, but I don't want to assume anything. But as a kid, when you listen to boy band music, you were only allowed to like one of each of the members of the boy band. You weren't allowed to like multiple ones. You couldn't like the same one as your friend. This is what this feels like. It's like, okay, so you've chosen that character. You've chosen Brian from Backstreet Boys. You can't also like Nick from Backstreet Boys. That's just how it works.
That's greedy, Sarah. How dare you? You're only allowed one.
No, I know. And Nick Backstreet Boys was mine. So my mum and my sister and I would always fight over who gets to choose first in terms of boy bands. And and now it felt like it was happening all over again with choosing my character type in Darktide. But No, that is not the case. We actually have, you can take multiple characters into a mission, and you're not gonna. You might struggle a little bit if it's not a balanced party, but like you can still enjoy the game. You can still bring in people and who specialize in maybe being up front or maybe being further back. You're not restricted to the type of character you play. It's great. I think it's really nicely balanced in that sense.
So
and I've had a great time.
For the selecting your character classes, or if you're matchmaking or things like that, does the game do the thing which I always liked what Overwatch did, where if you've got like 5 or 6 your hero characters, it will flag to say, hey, you don't have a frontline person here, or you don't have a support line here. Does it tell you, or does it flag anything to say, maybe think about the makeup of your team to say, you've got a gap here, or you've got a weakness in this area, maybe change class, that kind of thing?
That's a good question that I don't know the answer to, because I've only ever played with a full stack, so I don't know. Our friends just choose our characters at the moment.
Yeah.
I think there must be something like that built in, though, because it would seem like a thing to... It would seem weird to not have that if that sort of technology already exists in order to detect things like that.
Unless it doesn't necessarily matter. Unless it maybe doesn't matter for this particular
It feels
game.
like it doesn't. I think there are a couple of missions where we didn't have our sort of juggernaut chappy, and we struggled a little bit. But every character has both. You have your long range and you have your melee. So it's not like you don't have what you need. You just might struggle if the mission requires a little bit more close up stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, even in saying that, there's only been a couple of missions that we've failed because we didn't feel like we had the type of characters we needed. But it's not like it's impossible. It's just more difficult, which I'm not opposed to.
I prefer that approach as well, because it could be really frustrating if a mission is dependent on a very specific team makeup, and you say, well, I don't want to play as that character. I don't enjoy playing as that character of class, but the game is forcing me to have to do it in order to accomplish this mission. Whereas that's the experience you don't want to have. Where if developers are tuning the mission to say, okay, you can get by with 4 heavies or all 4 snipers, or whatever the different class build up you decide to make, you can get through. It might be a bit more challenging, might be a little bit more frustrating, but it's not insurmountable. It's not entirely dependent on one of each class.
Yeah, it's exactly that. I'm trying to think. We had a very specific example happen very recently, and I can't remember what the mission type was, but we definitely went into it with people who had played before, and they went, oh, this party is not it's not perfectly designed for this particular mission. That's what it is. So there's I can't remember the actual name of the mission type, but essentially you have to carry these big cells and put them into a machine in order to charge it up. So you've got to collect these massive batteries. If you have your juggernaut type character, your big boy, he can carry them and move with them faster. And so essentially you're not having to fend off so many baddies, because your guy he's got his big muscles, he can carry those cells across the room way quicker. So I think that was the only thing that we were like, oh, but it's not like you can't do it. Your character, any of the characters can pick up the cells and carry them across. It just takes them a little bit longer, because this is this massive thing that's basically the size of a small child that they're having to carry across a room.
And I know how heavy small childs are. That's why my back is so broken.
I knew you'd understand the context.
I do.
It's interesting, though, because I think when you highlighted Overwatch, I think that's one of the few that actually does try and direct you to say, no, you might struggle here. Because a lot of them, like if you look at, obviously I've played a hell of a lot of Valorant, and with that, you always get issues with, I mean, you usually get someone toxic in the chat as well, screaming at you to play a healer, even though they insta-locked an attack character. But I always, whenever we get that, I reply as well, you don't need heals if you don't get shot, mate, and just let people play what they want to play. But that's the thing, like there are classes of character within Valorant and games like that, but you can play any combination, but you'll find it hard. We used to do it with Heroes of the Storm as well. Like we took out a stack of 5 healers once to see how we would do, and kicked ass, which was ridiculous.
Brilliant.
But that was kind of sheer luck.
The time. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was it. What you lose in attack power you gain in survivability, so it became a thing. So I think there's always ways, but it struck me while you were saying it. And I think Overwatch is one of the few games I've played that actually really does try and sort of help you out and go, guys, come on, there's no healer and that tank, really? So.
Yeah, I remember Overwatch. I think it was that as well. Maybe other hero shooters have it as well. As the option to like turn off duplicates if you were really if you really didn't want anybody to 4-tank it, kind of thing. Like you'd say, okay, no, you're not allowed to do that. I think that's more the actual ranked competitive stuff. Is like, no, you have to pick somebody in each of the classes for a ranked match and things like that.
Yeah,
it wouldn't make really much sense in Darktide that kind of degree, but it's not competitive. It's PvE and it's about splatterfest and having fun and bathing in the entrails of the orcs and things like that. Worshipping the emperor and getting gory with it and having fun.
It is very that. It's great. It's good fun. I would definitely recommend it, and it feels like it's what was good. I think with previous games, so I've heard anyway. Like the longevity is there. And they support the game really well, and I'm sure that they'll bring in loads of new content, and people are probably storming ahead and becoming obscene levels already. And I'm sort of sat there just like, I'm just having a good time, just having a great time playing with my friends.
All that matters. That's all that matters, eh?
Yeah.
Awesome. So, next topic: street racing is back. It is Need for Speed Unbound, which also launched December 2nd, the same day as Callisto, and Midnight Suns actually released as well, the same day. Big day for games. But I've been playing Need for Speed Unbound, I should say, via the EA Play trial, which is on included as part of your Game Pass Ultimate subscription on Xbox. So I was lucky enough to jump into this, and we surfaced this a little while ago, maybe a couple episodes ago, when the trailer dropped, and we were super interested and excited by the new aesthetic look of it. It had that kind of cel-shaded anime vibe fused with photorealism, and I have to say, they absolutely nailed it. I'm having a lot of fun with this. It's a 10-hour trial, so it is beefy, and you can play. It's essentially the whole game from the very beginning up to like 10 hours of gameplay. So it's like it's a ton of access you get with it. So I've been playing 2 or 3 hours, did all of the prologue stuff, and I'm now into like the main game. I created my character, who's got a big fucking ginger mohawk with shaved edgings and a big beard, and I've got the nail polish on with black lips and eyeshadow, and I've got big fucking Elton John glasses on. It's my character is me if I was a Fast and Furious character. I absolutely love it. And Jamie, you got a kick out of this. My car is a Pontiac Trans Am from Smokey and the Bandit. It looks exactly like Smokey and the Bandit, and it's the black and the gold, and I fucking love it. It's so 80s kitsch, and
fuck yes,
I'm having such a good time because it's arcadey but quite weighty as well. It's not Forza. It's not Forza Horizon or anything like that. It's not Gran Turismo. It is pure Burnout style, Outrun style, arcadey street racing, and it's a lot of fun. And they have managed to fuse the two visual styles perfectly. It works really, really well. My only slight niggle is when there's lots of racers on screen and all of the effects are going off, it can be a little bit of overload with all of the effects happening from all the different cars, all the like the wings getting drawn out of the car as you're jumping, and the trails of smoke plumes and all that kind of stuff. It can be a little bit, oh my god, it's a bit overloading my sensory here. But apart from that, the game is absolutely beautiful. I'm playing on Xbox Series X. It is so graphically good, like really good. At times, really photorealistic, and then you get a little bit of anime style animation stuff popping in, and that pop of color against the photorealism of the city streets just really works, and it's super impressive. I'm having a lot of fun with it. And it's got the car customization stuff, the tuning, which you would expect. It's already got a ton of community liveries that you can download and wrap your car in. Some amazing ones, some questionable ones. But you've got that full customization of your garage and the cars that you can buy and win. You know, it's the classic Fast and Furious racing for pink slips kind of thing as well. There's that. There's rivalries that you can do. Between races, before you start, you can place a bet with another driver to beat them specifically rather than win the race. So there's these little kind of meta games going on. And I'm just having a really, really fun time of it. I don't know how it stacks up with previous Need for Speed games, but it feels like Need for Speed is back. It feels like a proper street racing game is back. And as much as I love Forza always felt that it wasn't really street racing, in the sense that there's pedestrians, there's other cars, there's other traffic going on, there's police chasing you, things like that. Whereas Forza was much more, they're circuits on street levels, but they're closed circuits. It's for an event. It's not promoting drag racing or illegal street racing or things like that. But Need for Speed is all about the fantasy of street racing, Fast and Furious style. And they're doing a really good job. And one of the mechanics I really liked is between races, you'll pick up a heat meter, which is the how interested the cops are in you kind of thing. And like Grand Theft Auto, it's like the 1 to 5 kind of meter. So among the highest I've had it is like just the one flame of heat meter at the moment. And usually no more than 2 cars will try and chase me, which is fine. But after a race, you have a second little race where you have to lose the cops because they're still chasing you. So there's that. And so then you have to get away from the cops and then get back to your safe house or do another event. And if you go back to your safe house, go on another event, the heat meter carries over. So when you leave the garage for your next session, that heat meter is still there. And if cops see you as you're just cruising around, it will trigger another chase that you have to then lose before going to the other event. So I really like that continuity of a heat meter. It's not just, it doesn't just reset at the end of every single race. It carries over. So as you get further into the game, it might be a case of I've got 4 heat ranks, and I can't even leave my garage because as soon as they spot me, it's going to be full on trying to lose helicopters and armored vehicles trying to pursue me because I'm a wanted street racer, things like that. That I have no idea if that happens, but I would imagine that it would escalate quite dramatically. But it's just a fun arcade racer, and it looks amazing. So if you can, I recommend checking out the trial. It doesn't cost you anything if you already have a subscription. And I think if you get a discount with EA Play subs as well. But it's well worth just diving into the trial and see what you think, because I was thinking about this as well, like the fusion of the two aesthetics of the cell shading with the photorealism. I haven't seen that, and I haven't seen it done this well probably since The Last Guardian on the PlayStation 4, a game I adored. And that was the giant bird dog game called Trico and the little boy. So the world and the dog, bird dog, cat thing, I don't really know, griffin creature, I don't know how you class it. That was very photorealistic with its feathers and its barking and its talons, hooks and stuff like that. And the world was very photorealistic, but the boy was cell shaded. And his animation was very Studio Ghibli, like beautifully rotoscoped, hand-drawn animation. And that fusion of cell shading for the character and photorealistic world worked incredibly well for The Last Guardian. And now we've got a similar treatment for Need for Speed Unbound. And I just really dig it. I think it's really, really good. Really good fun.
Sounds cool.
Yeah. If you like your racing games, probably worth checking out. I don't think I'll buy it because, excuse me, sorry, burping into the microphone is never pleasant. I apologize. I'm not a big racing game fan. Typically, I don't go out and buy racing games normally. Forza Horizon's great. That's probably the only one I would buy, but it's on Game Pass, so I don't have to buy it. Would I buy this for £60? No, but if you love Burnout style racing games, if racing games are your thing, then absolutely it would be a recommendation because it's really, really good fun and it's a new Need for Speed. That would probably be my only caveat. Because I'm not a hardcore petrolhead racing game fan, I like to dip in and play this for a little bit, but would I drop £60 on it? Probably not. If it came to Game Pass, absolutely yes, I would play it every other day or night, just because it's really fun to just jump in, do a race, and then go back to my quote unquote serious games, which are the God of Wars and the Callisto Protocols and things like that. But I think it's a lot of fun. A lot of fun.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. It looks brilliant, and I'm thinking of trying it out, but I can see me never playing it much more than the 10-hour trial, because no one else within any other gaming groups I'm in are like really massively about racing games either. So if you've got, it's the kind of thing that if I had a few friends who were into it, I would probably pick it up, because there's a lot of fun to be had in racing your mates. Or like you said, if it came to Game Pass, then I'd probably grab it on principle, because I quite like to have a racer around for those times where you just fancy a bit of fun and just jump in, burn around the town, and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But generally, I'm the same as you. Like, I'm not massive on them, but it's very much just, I've played some which are like amazing examples of the genre, but I'm still like, it's not really for me.
Absolutely.
But I'll give it a whirl, because it looks like fun.
It is a lot of fun, and visually just very, very pretty as well, which is great to see. Okay, final topic, guys. Final topic. The Super Mario Brothers movie got another trailer. And can I just say, this looks absolutely friggin' amazing. It is such fan service. I even don't mind Chris Pratt's voice anymore. I've kind of moved beyond that. I don't really care about that anymore. Because all of the visuals and all of the fan service which was going into this trailer was just too goddamn perfect. Sarah, what do you think?
Oh, it's going to be so good. I'm really excited. I think the sense of humor that they're giving across in these trailers is amazing. And like when I watched the first one, obviously I was super psyched for Jack Black as Bowser, but now I'm getting even more psyched for Charlie Day as Luigi. What a stroke of genius casting there. And there was like a moment where Mario was in the little Tanuki outfit, and I was like, yes, okay, okay, just okay, more of this. Like, give me more fan service. And the Toads are all really cute, and they even point blank say it, like, how are we supposed to do that? We're adorable. I'm like, I know. Oh, it's gonna be brilliant. There was some promo images that came out recently as well, that were just, the character, and it said like Mario up the side. It had like a little like one line to do with them in the film. The one for Peach was just like, Peach, she can do anything, and I was like, ugh, could it be more generic? I mean, I was a bit like, that's lame. But I do like that they're sort of going against the princess archetype, and she's coming across as a badass, which is great. And I'm always on board with all of that. But I mean, come up with something a little bit more than she could do anything. I'm like, cool, thanks guys. Thanks for representing the women out there with a very generic one-liner. But the woman who's voicing her, I was like, she sounds great. Who is this? Looked her up on IMDb and realized she's basically in a bunch of things that are on my like movie/TV pile of shame. Queen's Gambit, and The Witch, which I've heard is the most incredible horror film. Like, and there was something else that I was like, oh yes, I've been Peaky Blinders, which I've never seen. Again, these are things that are on my why have you not watched this like
great shows,
list. And so I'm excited to maybe finally get into those in the lead up to Super Mario as well, because she sounds awesome and deserves more than just she can do anything. As
Anya Taylor-Joy is Peach. I didn't realize that. Yeah, no, she's fantastic in Queen's Gambit. That's
I've heard
like
amazing
really
things about
essential.
that, so.
She's also in The Northman. I don't know if you've seen that. It's a very different movie. We watched it the other night. Very brutal. Scandinavian Norse mythology. It's fantastic. Like really fantastic. But go in expecting a lot of violence, a lot of Viking violence, but really, really good. Yeah.
But no, back to the actual thing we were talking about.
Yeah. We can go down a rabbit hole.
It looks really pretty as well, doesn't it? It looks really just the perfect representation of the games as well. And I've played loads of Super Mario games, so I'm very, very excited for this, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, you had it right there, like the humor and stuff that they're going for with this movie just looks perfect. I love the opening scene where Bowser's just like picking one strand of hair from Luigi's mustache. Yeah. And we all know, Jamie, that it's not a handful of hair that hurts. It's the single hair that always hurts the worst. And
oh yeah,
that little
catch one in a can of drink or something, and then you pull your drink away, and then you're just crying for the next 20 minutes.
Oh
no. Awful.
I know. The burden of facial hair, seriously. But again, there's so many nods to the franchise in this. I love that you mentioned the Tanuki. I love the little the fire flower nod that Peach picks up and she's messing around with the flame ball. I thought, oh, that's so cool. The Kongs are here. Again, that scene where Mario's like, let's go, motherfucker, let's go. And he charges toward Donkey Kong and tries to do the super punch, and Kong's just like, no, stop. And then it just continues to slap him like crazy. That's brilliant. And then, of course, the Rainbow Road is, we've actually got Mario Kart in this as well. It's like, come on. They're doing everything to make sure that this is pure fan service. It looks fantastic. Jamie.
It looks great. Like I'm really hopeful for this, and I've been more hopeful for like video game movies more and more over the past few years because they keep doing good stuff. Like the Sonic, I've only watched the first one so far, but that was fantastically funny, and really leaned into the tropes of bits and pieces that we all know and love. This looks brilliant. Charlie Day sounds awesome as Luigi. I don't know the actress who's playing Peach particularly well, but the voice seems very fit. I'm still stuck on Chris Pratt. I don't know. I don't hate it. I'm not anti at all. I just it feels weird. I don't know what. It just feels weird. I'm still not quite getting there. And his little woohoo.
It feels like he's doing an impression of Charles Martinet. Like he's doing. He's trying to impersonate Charles Martinet rather than doing a totally new take on the character. And I can see where people are saying, well, if you're just impersonating Charles Martinet, why not just get Charles Martinet and to do the voice? You know, you can tone it down a little bit. And for that, because we haven't had like actual dialogue yet. We haven't seen him delivering a line or a couple of lines of dialogue yet. It's just been the little sound bites, which that's what we all have to go for. And the sound bites is what we know from this 40-year franchise of being a very specific way. So I get where people are coming from, and I get where you're coming from. It's like I can't reconcile what's going on here with Chris Pratt and the Mario voice. I'm less worried about that now because of all the other shit that looks just amazing. So I'm excited for it as well. And you gotta get on Sonic the Hedgehog 2 because it is so good. Knuckles is so good, dude. You gotta get on it.
I definitely need to watch Sonic 2. I'll get that done soon because just the first one was amazing. I really enjoyed it. Like really enjoyed it. Mario's looking great. Like I say, it's not a deal breaker for me at all. It's just the one thing that everything else seems to be coming together brilliantly. It's the one thing that I'm still there. Like I don't know. It just feels a bit off. But I loved it looked like a training sequence, almost like a training montage, but he's going around the old-fashioned level and things. And Peach looks, flabbergasted by how badly he's doing, and that looked really funny. And Rainbow Road, like I popped, like to use a wrestling term, I popped hard. I sat and watched the trailer, and that came up, and I was just like, and then also I might have curled up in a ball under my desk for a while as I remembered the amount of times I've come off of Rainbow Road and died, and had a moment there. But the cart looked great. That's where he's going down there, and you see all the Koopas and everything behind, and the different carts and that. It looks brilliant. I'm very excited for it, and I think it's going to be really good fun.
Yeah, like the nods in that training sequence of the classic level of the rotating fire pillar that hits them. Like how many times have we all been spanked by those things in the levels? It's all of those little nods. It's like the gamers who played the games, the original games and the modern ones, instantly understand where they're coming from. It's like, I've been hit by that thing so many times. I'm so frustrated by the door. Yeah, brilliant. And the dropping platforms and stuff as well. It's like, we've all been cut out by that. So it's great to see that level of attention to detail. They're not just taking the Mario franchise and doing a random animated movie. They're actually paying attention to the tropes of the games and the experiences that the players had, and adding it in to this new story, which is hugely exciting.
Do we have a release date for it yet?
I don't know.
Is it next year sometime, I suppose?
I think it's... IMDb says expected April 7th, 2023.
April,
so,
cool.
Yeah.
Not far then.
3 days after my birthday. So I'm going to have to go see that. Go take Marcus to see it. And we'll have a lot of fun.
I think that's another thing as well. It's worth remembering. Like, it's great for us as... well, for I mean, I'm old. You two are fine, but it's great for us as fans of, like, established fans of the series. But it's also going to be great for kids because it looks bright and beautiful and funny. It's Illumination; they do good work. And I meant to say as well, that sequence that you talked about with the fire flower, there was something very beautiful about the way that worked. Like, that was really almost a little bit sort of Disney-esque, like, with that moment, just very soft. That was really sweet. So, yeah, I've got a good feeling about it. Whether I'll ever be able to completely reconcile Chris Pratt as Mario, I don't know. But I think he's gonna. Like, it's not that I think he's gonna do a bad job. Like, it sounded good. It's just slightly. It's like we said before with Splinter Cell. If it's not Michael Ironside, there's part of you that's going to be going,
yeah.
Even if it's a great performance. So.
Yeah.
I know. I get that. And of course, this is by Illumination Studios, who are behind the Minion movies and Despicable Me and things like that. So the humor and stuff like that is clearly there. You can almost channel all the little Toad people as minions. You can just kind of see that kind of that relationship between them. It's like, perfect, absolutely perfect. I cannot wait. So anyway, that is us at our robust 90 minutes of banter and fun. I've had a great time, guys. Thank you so much again for joining me. This has been episode 88 of the Weekend Catch-Up Club podcast. Please remember to like and subscribe, drop a comment. We haven't heckled Jamie at all this episode.
We've been too nice.
We've been far too nice to him. So maybe we'll ramp it up for next week's episod. Get back on the hate train. Yeah.
It's unnerving.
I've lost my place in the world. Untethered.
It's the Christmas jumper that threw us, Jamie. Can you go back to your black or something?
It won't last.
Hopefully, maybe to the end of the year. We'll see if we can keep Jamie as the Happy Grinch until the end of the year.
Just at some point in the next week, Halo Infinite will break, and then I'll be back to miserable. So you'll be fine.
No. Anyway, thank you so much, everybody. Take care, and we'll see you on next week's episode. Bye-bye.